I remember growing up spending a lot of time in church, and it was very important to me. All the pomp and circumstance and what I saw as the intricate dance of the priests and the acolytes during the Eucharist. It's like I was watching heaven. It was always important to me. It was always something that touched me somewhere. And I guess there's this funny story. I guess when I was a child, learning the Lord's Prayer, that one line, and give us our daily bread. For some reason, when I was learning that as a child, I don't know how young I was, but I guess in church school, that I guess what we were doing, and we had to memorize it. But for some reason, I just couldn't get that line right when I tried to memorize it. And I remember the first time, it's a kind of a strange memory. It's not very clear. It's kind of hazy. And I had to be reminded of it. But I guess it was my turn to recite the Lord's Prayer while we were learning it to the Sunday school teacher. Instead of saying, and give us our daily bread, I think I said, and give us a loaf of bread. Might have been a baguette or none or something. Yeah, I just wanted to recount that because I think it's a little bit funny. I don't know. For some reason, I don't know. When you're 5, does that mean God is a loaf of bread? Actually, I could see how that could be true. If, I was in a war zone and I was starving because there was no food and there was shelling all around me, and a nice humanitarian worker who I had never seen before, and my childlike eyes seemed to see them shining for some reason. Something that I caught on deep within somewhere, staring as I opened my eyes. If I was a child and there was chaos all around me and somebody offered me a piece of bread, yeah, I think God is a piece of bread in that situation. And I pray for any child, wherever they are, that they get their piece of bread, and that the chaos around them, that they no longer have to experience that, because children should be playing. Things shouldn't be falling from the sky around them. Anyway, yeah, so I want to start with that. But before I get in it, I wanted to kind of reminisce a little about, my childhood. Like I've said before, I spent time with my family going to this specific church, and I was well steeped in it. It was a very important thing in my life. It taught me a lot of things. And I remember that the Catholic university that I ended up going to, one of the reasons was that closeness that I felt. Some of it was related to being physically in the building. And I think as a young child, you need that building, and it's important. But there are different buildings. There are cathedrals, and there are temples, and there are mosques, and there are shrines, There's, gatherings on tribal lands. There are monasteries. There's sweat lodges. There are many ways to pray. There's no one right way, and that may be a little radical, you know. Um, and somebody, I don't know, put a knight in checkmate for that. At least that's what I believe, and everybody has the right to believe anything that they want. And that's a personal decision, one's relationship to a higher power or no higher power, or whatever higher power they want to believe in. But I guess what I want to say today is, I guess I remember words sticking in my head, these and nows. In nomine Patri et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Things like that. Mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. Words like that. Words that I grew up with. Words that they hide somewhere in my soul. They touch different. And I know when I went to college that I decided to study Chaucer in the original medieval English. And it's an interesting language. I was pretty fluent by the time we got done. But I'm rambling. I apologize for that. This is not about me. Anyway, I want to talk about touching the spirit. And connecting to a higher power. Now, you may believe in a higher power, you may not. And that's up to you. But what I want to say today is that however somebody connects to a higher power, that's a personal thing. If you want to go to a mosque or a cathedral or a temple or visit a Shinto shrine, or go out into the middle of the forest and hug a tree, talk to the fairies. There's nothing wrong with that. Light is light. The universe is the universe. Whatever the best way for you to connect that resonates with your spirit, that's the way that's right for you. Nobody should tell you, well, that's wrong. Oh, you read the Bible, or oh, you read the Quran, or oh, you study Kabbalah, or oh, did you go to catechism class today? Because the nun's gonna yell at you and wrap that pencil in your finger. So be prepared for that. But however you want to seek the light, that is truly within you. Because we're all made in the image of the divine, even if we don't believe there is a divine out there at all. If you believe in sacred geometry or the music of the spheres, guess what? You're an eighth note. Or you're in a isosceles triangle, and I'm going to figure out the diameter, or you got a theorem to solve to figure out who you are. Again, nobody can tell you who you are. But I think that on this journey, this human experience that we all have, we're here for a reason, all of us. It's each of our individual jobs to find out what that reason is. And when you find that reason, don't let anybody take it away from you. That reason is yours. That is your gift. Some people think, well, I gotta do this or I gotta do that, or, you do what's right for you. And if that means at 8 o'clock in the morning that you get in your car and you drive to the church and you sit in the pew next to your neighbor, then more power to you. That is your church. But if your church is in the middle of the desert, in a sweat lodge, on tribal land, then that also is a sacred space. Or maybe it's a fairy ring in the middle of a Welsh forest. Well, then that is divine. However you seek the light is the way it talks to you. Love and light. Peace. Namaste.